Hello, I'm R.P.Radford, and this is 50 Years of Chess. I want to tell you about this game. I'll share with you the game itself. It was in the Newport Congress over in Wales, and it was on the 9th of January, 1994. My opponent was R.Wiltshire. Rob was one of the highest rated players in our section. 150, which was about 1770 maybe in ECF terms today, and I was just a little bit behind him. Now this game, Rob had white, and he began with e4 and I responded with e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop e7, which Hungarian defence, and he played d4. So instead of taking the pawn, I just played d6. I'm not concerned about pawn takes pawn, or knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, queen takes queen, and bishop takes queen, because the bishop is there to retake. That's the whole purpose of this opening, so that if knight goes to knight 5, it can play bishop takes knight, wins the piece. So you can't do it. He castled, knight f6, rook e1, castled, h3, stopping the pin on the knight, and then I took on d4. He retook the pawn, and I played knight in e5, attacking the bishop. The obvious place he would go to is b3, which he did. Now he's going to kick me out of there with f4 soon, so I've got to do a few things. I'll attack his bishop first, threatening a4, but he blocks that with a4. Bishop into d7, ready to retreat, and then if I did retreat to c6, and he took me on c6 with his knight, I could take with the bishop without damaging my pawn structure. But I didn't go that way. I went knight to g6 because h4 is looks inviting at some stage, and it's also a defence for my king. Now he played knight c3, and I played c5. Now this is, some people wouldn't play this because it's weakening my pawn structure, d6. But I wanted to kick his knight out of there, first of all. Secondly, it's denying space to white in certain areas. So I went back to f3. Now I placed my bishop into c6, which is very, very nice. But Rob wasn't going to allow me to do that for long because he pushed his knight into d5. So you can't allow a monster knight like that to continue staying where it is. So took it off, and then back to d7. He played c4 to support the centre pawn on d5. Bishop f6. Now this is a nice piece to have positioned. I've got control on this diagonal to some degree. He cannot now bring out his bishop because the bishop takes on b2. So he has to work out a way to deal with this. So first of all, he's going back bishop c2. Then I brought my rook across, challenges rook in the middle, and he played rook e4. A little bit strange, I don't know why he did that. Maybe he's thinking of getting his queen behind the rook or something. But I just swapped it off and then brought the other rook out to a6. Why is Bob gone to a6? Well, you'll find out soon. It looks odd, but I've seen Karpov do this in a game against Wazis where was he from? Tunisia, in the 1982 World Cup in Hamburg. And it was a wonderful move. It completely helped win the endgame, which looked very difficult to win. But I never forgot it, and I thought I'd introduce it at some stage, and so I tried it here. Queen e1. Now he knows that if I play rook b6, it can go queen takes pawn, and then I can't move the rook because it'll be pinned, and it's a nasty pin too. So I wasn't going to do that. Instead, I'm pinning his bishop to his queen for the time being. He played rook to b1 now because of the bishop attack on it, so he can get his bishop out. Bishop takes pawn on a4. He played b3, and I went back again with the bishop. Now he's gone bishop b2 to challenge my beautiful bishop on f6, which I swap off. And then I play f5. Now, what this actually causes to happen is Rob will retreat his bishop, and if I just keep trading down, I'll have an extra pawn in the endgame, and it should be a pass pawn. Yep, there you go, swapped off the queens. Now rook goes to b6, just as Karpov did back then in 1982. And here I could have taken the f pawn before rook b6, but to be honest, I saw it and then I kind of didn't see it. I kind of forgot about it. And immediately Rob thought, well, I bet he's going to take it next time, so he played g3. But never mind, I'm still doing okay. Stockfish has me at 1.5 for the good in this game against him, against Rob. So that's when I played a4. It's difficult for him because he cannot take that pawn with his pawn because he loses rook, so he has to play the next best thing, which is bishop a2. I didn't take the tension off straight away. My pawn takes pawn. I put my knight back first. And then he went knight into d3, preparing to play pawn up to b4. So I didn't allow him to do that. Rook takes, bishop takes. So there's more pieces off as I bring my king into the centre. And it's improving my chances of winning now all the time. Knight back to b2. And now I threw in b5 straight away because I can swap that pawn off, either he'll take or I take it, and I will have a pass pawn on c5. And that is where the key will be to winning this game. I took the pawn, and then I changed off again because I didn't mind him having the bishop in the endgame because his bishop was not going to be as good, excuse me, as my knight on it. He's 7 at the moment. Just have a drink. So I moved my king up 1 square. He's bringing his king up. And now I'm going to make a play on the queen side as a kind of distraction of his king by bringing up my pieces before he goes wandering off around my king side, which would be good for him. So I took, and then I attacked his pawn on h4, and he went back d2. He took my pawn on h5. I went back again, so it's 3-2, and you can clearly see now that I have an advantage with the c5 pawn, which the king or the bishop has to be monitoring and watching all the time. So, plus at the moment he's got a weakness on the f pawn. He can't move it away unless he took my knight, which he didn't do. So I've gone back knight to d7. I was considering leaving it there and march my king round the queen side, but if you have a look at a4, b4, c4, d4 and e4 pawn flank squares, you'll see that if there's a knight on b6, he cannot cross over there with his king. And this is what I had visualised just a little while before I made this move with the knight, because I'm racing now to get round there before he can get round there with his king, and he would never get round on the a4, a5 or b5 and get round that way to stop what I'm doing. And if this is successful, it will win me the game. What you have to do in this sort of position is you have to visualize where is the best place for my king to be over there, and how do I win the game then? By bringing the king round. So I visualized it, I've seen where I want my pieces, and now I've analysed how to do it, and I'm about to put my plan into action. just keep following where my king goes. You see now where the knight is on b6. He cannot pass over on a4, b4, c4, d4, e4. He can't. And if he tried to attack my pawn with bishop a3, not only would I check him by taking on d5 rather, I will also take the the f pawn. So I would then have 2 pawns, clear pass pawns. Here we come. King's coming. He can't stop me from coming up there, you see. This was the plan. Checks me. That was unnecessary because he's only got to go back again. Though he could have gone into c4. Not sure what would have happened there. I think bishop takes, a knight takes bishop's okay after king takes, because I can play king to a4 and then he has to move his king. And wherever he moves, I will occupy the b5 square and push on with check and then march my king across. So this is what I'm doing now. c4, then the king goes across towards the centre. He could go in to e4, which is where he's supposed to go. But if he does that, I can then go king down to b4 and I'm going to march on my pass pawn. And always keeping an eye on what's going on with the knight. There. And that's when he resigned. So there you are. If you look back, it took here. Yeah, that's right. This is where, how many moves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 moves to get into that winning position. I had to visualise that, first of all. The reason I didn't go on the white square to come around was because if he moves his bishop away and I took the knight, he'd be able to pin me if I was down on the bottom somewhere. And then he could come in, even if he came to, that's right, he could come back to g2, pinning my knight to my king if it was on b7. I avoided that. I went to b8. Because if I was on b7 and I took and he pinned me, even though I could go in king to c6, he could come into c5 and then he would win my knight. So there you go. And that's how it was done. Just 10, 11, 12, 13 moves and it's won. So in 13 moves, I've went from a 2.3 advantage. Sorry. Yeah. I went from a 3.7 advantage to 4, 2.5, 3, 6, 2.7, 3, 2, 2, 6, 3, 4, 2, 7, 3, 6, 3, 6, 4, 5. You see, this is the point here now with my king on that A file where 0.59 suddenly appeared against Rob because of the power of that knight and what it's doing. 4-8, 6-3 now, 6-9 now, 7-6 now, 7-2, 7-4, 7-7, 8-3, no, 8-3, 8-7, and it minus 8-5 and 8-7 towards Rob losing this game is what I achieved. So thank you for watching this. I hope there was some benefit to you and maybe a little bit of showing you how to win endgames. I've lost a lot of endgames, but I've won a lot too. I'm not too bad an endgame player. So I hope this has helped you and I look forward to seeing you again later. This was R.P.Radford with 50 years of chess, showing you a game from the Newport Congress in the major section on the 9th of January 1994.